Hi everybody, welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. My name is Jared. If you're listening to this, Merry Christmas. I'm assuming that you've already spent time with the family and you've successfully snuck away and now you're hanging out with the cool kids. So welcome. And hopefully you're watching this on a new TV or device of some sort, a bigger, clearer picture. What we're going to be talking about today is pretty big, I think. So I mentioned in a previous video that I've been hearing some buzz about a planetary alignment, and I don't know, I didn't get into it for some reason, and then I was sitting here tonight. I'm doing this Christmas Eve night, where, don't worry, we're up late, my wife is doing stuff, it's fine. We spent a lot of family time today. But I want to have a video for you tomorrow, or today. And this was just kind of like pulling at me, and now I can kind of see why, I think. So, what's going on? Well, first of all, thank you to a few people. We got Structured Enterprises. All the planets are currently visible in the night sky, at least in southern New Mexico. Very cool. All these things are happening. Yes. And then Carolyn Turinetti. We also have the planets lining up on the 24th into the 25th of December. There are so many events happening this Christmas. And for some reason it doubled it. I don't know. Okay, and then I got this email, and this is kind of the one that did it for me. I was just like going through my emails, and I saw this, and it just, and nothing particular. She said, this is Michelle Nair. Hey Jared, my husband just shared this link with me. It is a bit long-winded, but the gist of it is that there is a planetary alignment this week during Hanukkah and Christmas. Sorry, there's no H. Puzzle piece? Smiley face. Okay, well thank you guys. So, yeah, this is what's going on. This is what's going on right here. You look at the night sky, and you're going to be able to see essentially all the planets. Okay, not Pluto, but here you have Mars, Uranus, or however you want to pronounce that, Jupiter, Neptune, Saturn, Mercury, Venus. Okay, let me read you a little bit because okay, so just to give you a little preview, I think this has everything to do with Hanukkah and everything to do with what's been going on this year. There's been a lot of signs in the heavens this year. We've covered many of them, probably not all. But okay, so what's going on? What's going on? Let's look at some of the details here. This is from skyandtelescope.org. All 8 planets line up again. Echoing summer's great arc of planets at dawn, winter presents the full octet again. See? Octet. That's how many candles are lit for Hanukkah. This time splayed across the evening sky. Okay, there are second chances in astronomy, as there are in life. If circumstances prevented you from seeing June's inspiring alignment of all 8 planets, you can see them again this month. This time they fan out across the evening sky at dusk, and this is important right here. At dusk. I'll show you why in a little bit. And will remain easily visible with the naked eye and binoculars through the year's end. While the symmetry of the alignments isn't quite as elegant, they're not sequentially lined up in order of their distance from the sun, the arrangement is nonetheless satisfying, with all the planets visible at a glance, starting at the western horizon and moving up and eastward. We'll see Venus, Mercury, Saturn, Neptune, Jupiter, Uranus, and Mars in that order. As before, feel free to add the planet you're standing on, okay, Earth, to complete the octet. If you'd rather have the moon substitute for Earth, no, we don't. I'm going to tell you why. Okay, so in a previous video, I think the last one, I showed you this. Rabbi Gerfing sent this to me. I don't think he took it. I don't know. Maybe he did. This is in the Old City, Jerusalem, and you have these menorahs that are outside, protected by, like a glass box so that they don't go out, because that's where you're supposed to put them. If you can't put them there, like at the front of the courtyard or the front of the house, then you put it in the window. So here they are, right? And that's quite a sight to see, and I like it. Here's a more kind of like classic menorah, I think the one that most people are familiar with. Hey, this is not a Hanukkah menorah. I missed that little detail. Just imagine that there are 8, or there are 4 on each side. You notice that you have this middle one that's higher than the rest. Let's go on to a different picture. Okay, so here's another glass box one. You have the 8 candles right here, and then you have a 9th one, which is not part of this series. This is called the Shamesh candle, and it's either higher or lower than the other ones. So let's look at a few examples here. Here's some more glass box ones. Let's see. Here's one in the window. Now look, here's one where the Samesh is over on the right side, and the rest of them are down here. Okay. So you have the 8 and then the 1. So think about it like this. Okay, think about it like this. So you could say in a sense that these 8 candles are on the same plane, but the Samesh, which you use to light these candles, it is on a different plane. It's either higher or it's lower. It can go either way. Okay. Here's an even more dramatic one where the Shamesh is it's like completely separated from the menorah. You have the 8 right here and the Shamesh right here. I can't remember if it's Shamesh or Samesh. I read it recently, but I can't remember if it starts with an S or SH. Anyway, so look at this, okay? 8 planets, one of them including Earth, and then you have the Samesh that could represent the moon. Let's go back to that graphic that we were looking at. Okay, and here you have it. You have the planets that are all lined up like this, including Earth. And then you have the moon offset. Okay, it's in this case, when you're looking at it, it's lower than this line right here. Very menorah-like, isn't it? It's very menorah-like. Now, if you recall, Hanukkah this year, the 8th candle will be lit on Christmas. And when is it going to be lit on Christmas? Well, according to this website, hebcal.com, it says here it's going to be, zoom in, Sunday, December 25th, light 8 candles at dusk. At dusk. Not nightfall, not before sundown, at dusk. That's when you light the final candle and you have the full set of 8. And what did it say over here? This time they fan out across the evening sky at dusk and will remain easily visible with the naked eye and binoculars through the year's end. This is fascinating. It's almost as though there is a Hanukkah being celebrated in the heavens right now. I wouldn't be surprised if that is actually what's going on. I don't know, if there's any Jews that are. I mean, they probably wouldn't place any significance on this one any more than any other one, but we would because it's lining up with Christmas. And after the videos that I did about how winter solstice and Christmas would probably be a great time of year for the second coming to happen, and how it seems like church leaders are really like pointing to this Christmas. For example, we read an example where area authorities told their stakes, hey, make sure that your meetings, you bring as many people as possible, make it extra special, pick your best speakers, right? The Christmas devotional this year, if you watched it, it was incredible. Everyone seemed really giddy, all of them. We even have an anecdote from a member of the Tabernacle Choir that said that afterwards, they addressed the choir, said hi, good job, and they were just really happy. And he had never seen them that happy in the 12 years that he's been in the choir. So it's awfully interesting. Now, there's more. There's more, okay? So let's move on from this. There's a few other things. Okay, give me a second. Okay, this is from my.christian.homestead. The planets will align on Christmas Day. Here's how to watch. Professional and hobby astronomers alike will get one last chance on Christmas Day at dusk on Sunday, September 25th, according to Forbes. The planets will align in their correct order outward from the sun for the second time this year after a pre-dawn alignment in June. Which I don't know about that because we just read that it's not in that order, but whatever. Okay. Down here it says NASA says the planets will be in view through the end of the year and that the moon can be observed sliding past Saturn on Monday, December 26th. So you have a day where we celebrate Christ's birth, even though it's not the right day. But we celebrate it on the 25th. And the next day, the moon, which is a terrestrial symbol, and we're going to be moving into a terrestrial condition when the second coming happens. The world is going to be translated. We're going to be living in a terrestrial condition. So you have this terrestrial symbol that's going to cover, it's going to go over Saturn, which many esoteric schools hold Saturn to be not a good planet. Like the planet that would represent evil, the evil one, however you want to think about it. It's planet number 6, if that gives you an idea. And there's all sorts of, you could go down that rabbit hole if you want to. But the fact that you have this terrestrial body covering up what could be viewed as an evil planet in some circles is interesting. And then it's going to pass Jupiter on Wednesday, September 28th. So you could view this as like the moon taking away Saturn's reign, right? Satan's reign on the earth, and giving it to Jupiter, giving it to Christ, the firstborn, the king, right? Now this is interesting here. The constellation Pegasus, one of the night sky's largest, is also visible until the end of the month in the southwest after dark. So why is this interesting? Well, we've talked about Pegasus before because when you read Revelation chapter 19, John describes Christ as returning on a white horse. Okay? And in the sky, so it must be a flying horse. And what is a Pegasus? It's a flying horse. Verse 11, and I saw heaven open, and behold a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. Okay, and while we're talking about this, I just want to do a little reminder that we had a very strange event happen in 2017. We had an interstellar visitor called ʻOumuamua. This is something that we have never observed before, okay, meaning an object from outside the solar system. Their best guess is that it's an asteroid. The only problem is that it's not the typical shape of an asteroid. It's elongated, okay, so it's weird. They named it, okay, so the name comes from Hawaiian, ʻOumuamua, which is scout, for u, reach out for, and mua, reduplicated to emphasize, for emphasis, first in advance of. Okay, so if this is some kind of sign that comes in advance of the sign of the Son of Man, that's a pretty perfect name. and reflects the way the object is like a scout or messenger from the distant past to reach out to humanity. It roughly translates to first distant messenger. A pretty fitting name, I would say. And it happens in a very fitting year, 2017, where you have the Great American Eclipse. It's President Trump and his Vice President Pence trumpets their first year in office. And I'm not going to go off on all the things that happened that year. It was an incredible year. But what happened was ʻOumuamua appears to have come roughly from the direction of Vega in the constellation Lyra. What is Lyra? Lyra, well, it says right here, vulture or an eagle carrying a lyre, which is like a harp. And hence it is sometimes referred to as vulture cadens or aquila. The cadens, falling vulture or falling eagle. Okay, remember that imagery, and then here's a depiction of it right here. Okay, so ʻOumuamua, this strange object, in fact, let me, hold on. ʻOumuamua, there's a good depiction of what it looks like. It's obviously an artist rendition of it. Right here, they don't know exactly what it looked like, but maybe something like this. Okay. So it comes from a constellation that represents an eagle or a vulture. It comes down, slingshots around the sun. I guess it's not going to let me look at it, but anyway, it comes down from the vulture, comes down around the sun, and then shoots back up toward Pegasus. Well, here's like a little depiction of it. See? Coming from the eagle or the vulture, and then up and out toward Pegasus. If you go to Joseph Smith Matthew 1, or if you go to Matthew chapter 24, it says here, "And now I show unto you a parable. Behold, wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together. So likewise shall mine elect be gathered from the four quarters of the earth." Okay. This is the big second coming chapter in Matthew, okay, and this is very appropriate that this event, okay, ʻOumuamua, happens the year before President Nelson becomes president, and his big emphasis is gathering the elect, gathering scattered Israel, right? So ʻOumuamua makes its approach. Initiates that, maybe, who knows, we don't know the Lord's dealings with these things. Maybe it doesn't mean anything. I think it does, though. And then it goes and seems to report or go make the Lord aware up on his flying horse that okay, they're doing. I sent the message, and they're gathering scattered Israel. You know, whatever. I mean, however you want to imagine it, but between these two scriptures, I think that's pretty amazing. So, okay, so let's get back to what's happening. So Pegasus, the constellation Pegasus, is going to be available, or it's going to be, you're going to be able to view it. Okay. So, and for all anybody knows, maybe that's the direction from which the sign of the Son of Man will come, but we don't know. Now, on this website, solarsystemscope.com, as far as like the planets aligning, it doesn't seem like they're aligned, you know, because you have Saturn and Jupiter out here, there's Neptune out there, there's Uranus. So I don't know in what sense they're saying it's aligning other than from our point of view. Okay. It's like when we're looking up in the sky, they look like they're aligned. And of course, they only follow this path because they're all on the same, I think it's called the solar plane, where like a record, they're all on the same plane and revolve around the sun, or orbit the sun. So, but I guess you can count Earth according to what we just read. Makes sense to me. Okay. what else was there? There's more. Don't worry, there's more. Solar system gets its ducks in a row. Now, this is what happened earlier this year in June. Okay, we'll have not one, but many opportunities to enjoy a rare lineup of the bright planets over the next few weeks. Amazingly, they'll be aligned in order of their distance from the sun. So, I guess that's what happened. Here's the depiction of what happened in June. You have Mercury, Venus, then I guess Earth, and then Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, and whatever. So this happened earlier this year. This rare event last occurred in the morning sky in December 2004. You know what's interesting about 2004? It comes up sometimes on this channel. President Oaks, at the time Elder Oaks, he gave kind of like what I would call a landmark Second Coming talk in the April 2004 General Conference called Preparation for the Second Coming, where it's the only time that I'm aware of that a general authority has said, look, these are the signs of the time, or these are the signs of the Second Coming, and he actually lists them out 1 through 9. Of course, it wouldn't include like all of them, but it would seem that these are the most important ones that he would have us know. Okay, false Christ and false prophets, deceiving many, wars, rumors of wars, so on and so forth. Okay, just a big Second Coming talk. And what's also interesting is that, let's see, do I have my thing pulled up? No, of course not. Let me pull up my Second Coming timeline. Okay, so let's go over here, go down to 2004. So he gives that talk. Here, I'm going to zoom in. He gives that talk, okay, and then later that year, in December, you have a gigantic earthquake and associated tsunami that killed 230,000 people in Indonesia. And then the next year, you have Hurricane Katrina that takes place. And it's amazing that he spoke about the Second Coming, the things to look for, and then immediately, well, not immediately, but that same year, you have this really big event that takes place. It's still one for the record books in a lot of ways. So it's interesting that the last time, according to this article, that this kind of thing happened was December 2004. The same month that tsunami and earthquake took place. While it's not a once-in-a-lifetime event, the next opportunity won't be till March 2041. Now, I mean, obviously that's not true because it looks like it's happening this month, so I don't know what the author is referring to exactly here, but it gives you a sense that this is not a very common thing to happen. The alignment is essentially a naked eye event. The only requirements are clear to partly cloudy skies and an unobstructed east-northeastern horizon. That said, I strongly recommend that you bring a pair of binoculars to help in digging out Mercury. Okay, was there anything else? In this one, no. Okay. Forbes talked about it. So that one that we just read, that was for June. Okay. Now we're talking about the one happening tomorrow. Christmas Day will see the second, final, and best planetary parade of 2022. I think that's an interesting way of describing it. And then it lists out the order that you view it: Venus, Mercury, crescent moon, Saturn, Jupiter, Mars. So they didn't list all of them. I guess just the ones that you could like see with the naked eye. But let's see. And then looking to the future, again, I'm not going to be so bold as to say that the second coming can't happen in 2040. I feel like it's very, very unlikely that it would take that long, but something to, maybe just be aware of. On September 8th, 2040 comes an ultra-rare golden conjunction of planets when Mars, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, or Saturn and Jupiter will be visible in the same 10-degree patch of the night sky right after sunset in the west. So, yeah, that will be quite the sight. But anyway, so we have this going on tomorrow. Okay. Where'd it go? We have this going on tomorrow, a planetary alignment that looks like a menorah, happening at a time when the last candle of the menorah is going to be lit at dusk on Christmas. This is a year where we've had a Rosh Chodesh Tevet and Rosh Chodesh Kislev. These are the first days of these Hebrew months. And typically it's just one day. I'm not going to go through the minutia of why sometimes it's one day and sometimes it's 2 days, but these are 2 months that they can go either way. Some years there's only one first of the month for Kislev, and other times it's 2 days. So this year it's gonna be a 2-day Rosh Chodesh Kislev, and then the same thing for Tevet. And that's not the most common thing either, because you could have a year where there's 1 Tevet and 2 Kislev, or vice versa. So this year they're aligned, so to speak, if you want to think of it that way. And then earlier, another fascinating thing happened. Okay, the Hebrew year, they have 4 New Years, but the one where the date changes is Rosh Hashanah. You see here? So now we're in the year 5783. So what happened here was this ended the sabbatical year. There was a sabbatical year that went from September 2021 until this day, September 26th, 2022. Okay? So it was the Saturday, or the Sabbath of years. If you're a Jew, then that was the Sabbath of years. Now, what day was Christ resurrected on? He was resurrected the next day on Sunday. And now that's when we observe the Sabbath. So, from a Jewish point of view, we are in the Sunday of years now. It would be a great year, symbolically speaking, for the morning of the first resurrection to occur. You know what happened as Rosh Hashanah was happening? I've already done a video about this, but in case you didn't see it, this is what happened. Jupiter is at its closest to Earth in 59 years. The solar system's most massive planet, Jupiter, will make its closest approach to the Earth for 59 years on September 26th, even as the gas giant will be directly opposite the Sun as viewed from Earth, an astronomical arrangement known as opposition. Opposition is common for Jupiter, happening every 13 months, and the planet and Earth make close approaches roughly once a year. The arrangement that sees Earth in between the Sun and Jupiter rarely coincides with the massive planet's closest approach to our planet, known as perigee, I don't know. But on this occasion, opposition occurs on September 26th, and closest approach on September 25th. Now, I couldn't find the article that I read in the other video. I guess I should have just pulled up that video, because I put the links in the description of all the videos. But whatever the case, you'll just have to believe me. The article that I read said that the closest approach happened in the evening. You know what the evening is? That's when, after sunset. You know what that is in Judaism? That's the new day. That's when the day starts, is at sundown. So, on the 25th of September, after sundown, on Rosh Hashanah, Jupiter was the closest to the Earth that it's been in 59 years. So if Jupiter represents Christ, being the king planet, and there's all sorts of like symbolism that people use to correlate Jupiter with Christ, essentially what you have, symbolically speaking, is Christ coming right at the new year, as soon as the new year starts, which would have been after sundown on the 25th. And then opposition was the next day. Okay, so closest approach on the 25th, opposition the next day. Okay, so you tell me that, what you think about this. all these things lining up, all of them, and then we have during the 10 days of awe, okay, between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. I'm going back to pronouncing it Kippur because I'm just going to do it. That's how I've always pronounced it. Then I started going with Kippur for a little bit, but I'm going to go back to Kippur. We had General Conference start in between on Shabbat Shuvah. Shabbat Shuvah is the Sabbath during these 10 days of awe. So Shabbat Shuvah lined up with General Conference this year. And then earlier in the year, April, General Conference started on Rosh Chodesh Nisan, or in other words, the first day of Nisan, which is the month that Passover takes place. Okay? On top of that, it was Shabbat HaKodesh, which was, it's essentially Sabbath on the first day of the month. So two interesting General Conference lineups. Okay? And then you had the configuration of the days this year, where it matched with the last week of Christ's life, where he was crucified on Friday, okay, right here. And then the next day is the Sabbath. And then the next day, first fruits, which Christians celebrate as Easter. It's basically the same thing. Well, we had that same alignment this year because there are years where it could start any day of the week, essentially. Well, I think there's a couple days that it can't start on. I can't remember which ones those are. But it's not always on the same day every year. It switches because it's a lunar calendar. So, this happened during the sabbatical year. Not always are Easter and first fruits on the same day. Because there's the split between Judaism and Christianity. There's a lot of times that they do end up on the same day, but a lot of times that they don't. And it happened to be that this year they lined up, and they lined up in a year when it was the same configuration, or Passover started on the same day that it would have the last week of Christ's life. It's just been wild. It's been wild. And now, to top it off, it seems, we have these 8 planets. They're going to be in view at dusk, when Jews all around the world are going to be lighting the 8th candle of the Menorah. These planets are going to be all up there. The moon's going to be up there. I think something special is happening. Will we see it? I don't know. Are we going to be translated? I don't know. Is Christ going to come to the prophet? I don't know. But, I mean, come on now. Or it could be, like I said, this could be just our last Christmas with our families. Maybe things are going to really kick off in the next year. I don't know. All I know is that all these things are lining up this year, and it's crazy. I don't know when the next time is going to be that Jupiter is the closest to Earth, but it's probably going to be a while. It's probably going to be a while. So if the Lord wants to use that as a symbol, he's most likely going to use it this year when it's happening. And all these things are lining up. It's insanity. And that's okay. It's not insanity. Insanity is what happened. Is what's happening in my head. This is perfect order. From what I can tell, this seems to be just perfect order. Like there's a plan, and that this is meant to be. Only time will tell. And all I can do is just let you know what's happening, what I think is happening, possibly. But look at that. A celestial menorah. And it would just be so perfect, once all the light that's possible on this menorah is shining forth, that Christ comes. Right? Let's go to this one. I like this one right here. Let me pull that up in a separate tab. Once all the light is present and this holiday, excuse me, this holiday is complete, Christ comes as the year is beginning to warm up, because, or the days are starting to get longer because of solstice. It's just nothing short of amazing. So, okay. Well, I hope you have a Merry Christmas. Hopefully I'm just talking to myself, because hopefully we're all gone by the time this would get to you. But I don't know. Maybe we'll have to, whatever, just wait till nighttime, and if nothing happens, that's okay. It's not a big deal. We'll just keep pushing forward. But it is a lovely thought, isn't it? Okay. Well, that's going to be it for this one. Merry Christmas. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it, leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Also, make sure to share this, and I'll talk to you guys later.